Hello, everyone. It was a great day to be out in April, and there were lots of birds and animals active in the valley. First up was this large flock of Bohemian waxwings. Their high-pitched voices were a joy to listen to. These waxwings are a little more common in western North America and can be distinguished from the cedar waxwing by the rust-colored patch under the tail. These birds can also be found across the northern hemisphere, including Europe and parts of Asia. They tend to gather in large flocks like this towards the end of winter and in early spring, and will then break up into pairs to nest. They are monogamous, meaning they keep the same pair for life. The one at the top of the branch looked so sweet and sleepy. I loved the look of what just happened when the others took off. I enjoyed watching the various smaller groups fly away. I also really love the hushed silence that falls over them before they take off. Some of the waxwings flew down to the creek for a drink of water. They were pretty nervous on the ground and were quick to fly back to the safety of the trees. I didn't want to disturb them, so I decided to head up the path instead of along the creek.
Just saw a coyote over there. Tail?
They didn't stick around long. From the bridge, I took a few moments to admire the ice. Especially these fragile, web-like patterns. The flock dispersed into the air, meaning I could now visit the creek.
I think I'm going to be seen on this thing. There they go. Dispersed into the sky.
I took in a few more views of the creek. The frozen surface gave an illusion of movement, even though it was perfectly still. And I played a fun round of You Can't Film Me with a cute chipmunk. Haha, gotcha. More ice patterns glittered in the morning light. And the rock is in there more solidly than I thought. It still hasn't fallen. This block of ice had taken on a quartz-like surface. I spotted 2 mallards in the distance. I'll spare you the majority of my unsteady cam. It seems I was not having a very good day with keeping it stable. Edmonton is a bit famous for having a large population of black-billed magpies. These smart-looking birds have a bit of a reputation as a nuisance bird, especially with a liking for digging through trash and preying on bird chicks. Here, they had found something interesting in the mud and appeared to be collecting moss and other plant debris, possibly for making bird nests, or maybe they were getting some sort of dietary mineral from the soil. Down below, the Whitemud Creek flowed with an almost green color. Further up, and near where the magpies were, I traced the path of the small spring that flows out and down to the creek. Some of the trees in the distance had burst into flower, casting the treetops with a dusting of white from their catkins. A downy woodpecker tested out a tree with some hammering. He moved about, trying different angles. Not bad, but it's really not resonating. Try it again? No, it's just not working. This moss-covered log looked really plush. I bet it would green up nicely with a little bit of rain. It was tough to see, but I saw the silhouettes of 2 coyotes through the branches.
Stuff you find in the forest. This is a first, though. Never found a balloon before.
The newly acquired balloon would accompany me to the nearest garbage can, which was about 2 kilometers away.
Now bless the use of one hand, basically. I don't have a bag with me, and I refuse to put that in my backpack.
Nearing the creek, I spotted a few common mergansers. This male seemed a little nervous to be left alone with this strange balloon-carrying biped. He bravely approached as close as he dared, and then took off to rejoin the other two. You can see the single male off to the right. The other two seem to have paired up for the breeding season. The female almost seems to be prancing in the water. I wonder if she's signaling her acceptance to the male.
There's a white-breasted nuthatch. Looks like he's carving a hole. I'm going to be nesting in there. That's a good spot.
White-breasted nuthatches can carve their own nesting holes, but they usually take advantage of abandoned woodpecker holes. This one was working on a birch tree. It was enjoyable watching her work and take short breaks.
Finally, after 20 to 30 minutes of holding on to that.
I had recovered my hand, but I had also gained a new technique in stabilizing the camera while filming, where I hold my left arm almost as though a bird was perching on my forearm, and then I can still operate the camera with my right. These birds hardly need an introduction, but it's always nice to hear the return of their familiar honking. These two had just landed, and one still seemed quite agitated with the rolling head.
actually looks like a minor war zone with all the muddy pieces of ice jammed up. Wow.
The geese were still not happy and took off for another fly around. This pair was content where they were, but one still kept a watchful eye on me, even though I informed them I would not be swimming. High overhead, I spotted some sort of raptor, but they quickly soared away. On this pine tree, I saw 2 woodpeckers. I almost ignored them, as one was clearly a hairy woodpecker, but the one leading was much darker. It was a black-backed woodpecker. As it flicked off pieces of bark, the hairy woodpecker was following and checking for any missed insects. This uncommon woodpecker prefers burnt-out forests where it scours trees for wood-boring beetles. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the local birds. Stay tuned, as next time we'll visit one of the local marshes. As always, thanks for watching.